good evening, good afternoon, welcome. Thank you so very much for being here. I can see that we have Dorothy and James. Welcome back. This is your weekly opportunity to connect, ask some questions, receive some advice, perhaps dive a little deeper into Positive Prime. We do this so that you know that I'm here for you. And indeed, so are some of our Positive Prime leaders. It's your opportunity. So if you're new to Positive Prime, then perhaps we should do a little tour, a little guide around Positive Prime. And if you've been here for quite some time, you've probably got a really nitty-gritty question. Do feel free to ask me. You can put it into the chat if you like. Some people ask me, so Kim, I really want to have a breakthrough in my healing. What do you think is the best session for me to watch? So if you've got a question like that, feel free to ask me. One of my immediate responses might be the patience session. So shall I show you that? We're logged into my account. Of course, I should probably log back out again to refresh and log back in again. It's a good practice to log out. We have security measures anyway, so that if you've, like I might do, watch a particular session and then pause it halfway through and then go away from my computer and come back a day later and I've got that session still paused in one of the tabs, I might go and click on refresh or just reload up here in the URL area, in the actual address area in the what do you call these things? Browsers, that's right. So here we go. The patience session. So I would go in here and I would put patience in the search bar. And oftentimes, if you would really like a breakthrough, sometimes you need to release the energy around it because you're holding onto it a little bit too tightly. It's a bit like the story. If you want a butterfly to land, you actually have to open your palm and just allow and be peaceful. And so you might want to watch this session that will help you to have a breakthrough. It's counterintuitive, I know, but it is in fact a really interesting little morsel of tidbit for me to share with you today. A great suggestion that I have been given many times by some of the gurus or teachers or mentors or coaches that I've had is to just let go, Kim, and just approach it from a much more gentle state or place. So if you've got a question, please put it into the chat for us. Okay, so maybe you might want the second part of this. It's really important that your identity is integrated into a Positive Prime session. So let me say that for you again. It's really important that your identity is integrated into the content in order for you to accelerate your transformations. And that means that you need to actually, from a placebo point of view, and also from a nocebo point of view, from a self-fulfilling prophecy point of view, you want for your magnificent mind to go off in search of evidence to prove that the content is actually for you. I'll give you an example. If you were the kind of person who wanted a breakthrough in a particular area, let's call it a financial area. Unless you see photographs of yourself inside that Positive Prime session, your identity won't integrate into, it won't actually be threaded through your actual Positive Prime experience. And what we're actually having is this very subtle shift in the way that we allow these messages to become appropriate for us in this lifetime right now. See, we as humans, we don't mess with who we think we are. And so if you think you are exceptional at saving money, if you think you really and truly are the kind of person that has the Midas touch, if you believe that you really are the kind of person for whom financial freedom is just a given, it's inevitable, it's absolutely just who you are. If you think that you are fortunate and blessed and lucky, what actually happens is that you have a presence like that. It's part of your identity. It's part of who you're being as you show up into the world. And as a consequence, there is a different reaction and a response to who you're being. And in order for you to make that part of your subconscious and your other than conscious, with Positive Prime, when you personalize and you upload photographs of yourself into the session, you literally become one with the content of the session. Your identity starts to wrap around it. It just naturally and organically becomes you. So make sure you personalize your sessions. It's just one of the greatest pieces of advice I can give to you. I want you to make the most out of Positive Prime. And I promise you, personalizing is essential. I promise you, personalizing is super important. And I promise you, personalizing is one of the ways that you can accelerate the journey for yourself. Alrighty, so without further ado, I can see Dorothy's raised her hand. Please unmute yourself, Dorothy. Come on out. Let's ask a question.
So the question would be about personalizing. So I would, beside many other things, I am therapist, and I would like to have little clips maybe for clients to support. I'm in G Vault member also. I would like to build up maybe this way also the team. I don't know how it works yet, but I guess it's an MLM like many other things. But at the moment I have just the idea. I would love, I've had a fabulous holiday in Sicily, and I would like to bring these photos from the first day to the last day together and gift it to my partner. But I don't know how to, if I have this, how can I gift things that are made on sometimes a clip of, with pictures of my children? Also, how can I gift this to someone else? Is this possible with Positive Prime, or does the other one need to buy Positive Prime in order to have it?
That's a great question. Great question, Dorothy. In short, yes, but let me explain to you something here. I'm just going to share the screen again, because you asked several questions, so I'm going to answer them in several different ways. So here in the area that's near your name, up near the logout, can you see that you have invitees? And so yes, you can invite someone. Of course, you enter their email address, and then you send them the invitation by clicking send invite, and it will allow them to accept the invitation so that they can actually have their own Positive Prime account that's linked to yours. So for as long as you're a member of our community and you're subscribed, they too will be. If, of course, you cancel your membership and you're no longer subscribing, then they too won't be able to access their account. So when you are a subscriber, what actually that means is that you have access to all of the sessions. You can watch any session you like. If you actually stop being a subscriber, one of the things that most people don't really understand is you can still log into Positive Prime and you can watch one session. This session, Being Happier, is always available to you. But if you are a client of one of our Positive Prime coaches, one of our leaders, the interesting thing is over here, you might be gifted a session by one of your coaches. Like, I'll give you an example. Bruce Barnes is a great coach. If he gifts one of his clients his particular session via his referral code, then even if that person is not actually an active paying subscriber of Positive Prime, they will always have access over here in their drop-down menu to that particular session from that particular coach, right? If you are thinking about how it is that you could leverage Positive Prime and make some money from it in terms of sharing it with your coaching clients, I will guide you over here. I'm just going to put in Positive Prime /leader /. And let me actually just copy this particular URL for you and put it in the chat for you to see. If you are interested in having your own session that you can actually provide to clients, there are lots of ways that you can actually engage what we call a positive prime leader. And we have various levels. The ambassador level is undoubtedly our highest level. So you could actually read through this particular page. It's a long page. It's got a lot of information. This investment's an important decision. It's worthy of the time and attention. And then you can actually have a consultation with one of us, one-on-one, we could actually guide you what's the best option for you given your own goals in your own business and how many clients you have and so forth. And so if you want to know more about becoming a leader, having your own positive prime session, and there are different levels of that as well. You could have your own positive prime session and it could be available on your website and your website only. So I'll give you an example of that. I'll just go over here, positive prime /player / let's just see if this is the right page. It might be, I hope so. So if you want your own positive prime session on your own website for your own team or your own staff and so forth, that's also an option. And you don't necessarily have to have a piece of content that appears available to the general public, to all of our subscribers on our platform. So I'll give you an example because down here, we actually have a great example. I'm going to click. This particular woman, Gail, is an incredible leader with a multi-level marketing, network marketing, direct sales company. There's thousands of those types of companies, and thousands of the leaders of those companies are actually active members of Positive Prime. And most of those leaders have been through our professional leaders certification program. But anyway, Gail has actually created her own session. And this is all about building a really successful Norwex business. And so here on her own website, she actually talks about Positive Prime. And this is her session that she has created for her team. And this relates to the content that's very specific to her company, her products, and her team members. And this really celebrates her team members. And so we have so many amazing leaders in the direct sales world or in the multi-level marketing world who leverage Positive Prime, and they create these great, really uplifting Positive Prime sessions for their team members. And of course, what that means is that their team members come back and actually watch the session that's available on the website. So this is Gail's website, all right? And so what is important to know here is that every time somebody comes and watches that session on Gail's website, it actually is really good for her SEO, and it keeps people on her website. Her team members are on her website. So it's really great for her business building efforts. So that might help you in understanding one of the ways that you could approach leveraging Positive Prime for the people that you care about. Now, let's talk about a really interesting idea, and that is you creating a Positive Prime session that you want to actually gift somebody else. Well, Positive Prime works as a neuroscientific, positive psychology orientated experience because of our formula and for the types of images that are in the 800 images that are in each particular session, and for the ratio, the numbers of those types of images. And what's most important is the reshuffling effect. And so when you press play and it basically randomizes all of the order that it plays through every single time you press play, you get a different order of images and words and so forth. And that actually causes a neuroplasticity effect. And so this is what I'm going to say to you. If we actually then create a video for you and we upload it onto a private YouTube channel, you can have your own personalized link that is private to you, and only you know what that link is, and you can share that link with somebody else, and that person can view that particular session only if they have that link. It's a very interesting nuance for YouTube. So we can actually convert a Positive Prime session into a video. See, a Positive Prime session is not a video. It's not a .mp4. It's not a .vid. It's actually not a video. It sits inside its own proprietary player. However, of course, we can give you an opportunity to view a Positive Prime session as a video inside YouTube. And so we could create a customized Positive Prime video for you, for somebody that you really wanted to watch it. Now, if you give me a couple of moments, I'll show you an example, because we have converted Jack Canfield's The Success Principles session into a video, and I'm going to get the YouTube link for you, which actually means that if you have this YouTube link, you can go and watch this particular video inside YouTube, which means, of course, you're not inside Positive Prime. So bear with me for 1 second while I actually get this for you. And we charge for this particular, service. And so in order for us to actually customize a Positive Prime session for you and actually upload it into YouTube and turn it into a video, that is $199 in and of and by itself. The actual manual effort to convert images, hundreds of images, into a specific video and then upload it onto Positive Prime and then create it, it's easy to do, it's simple to do, it's just very time consuming to do. So even if you were to have your assistant or virtual assistant do something like this, it would take them 8 hours or maybe even 16 hours to go and find enough spectacular images in order to create a Positive Prime session, and then also to include your Positive Prime.
So I cannot do it,
bear with me.
right? I cannot do it on my own. I cannot do it on my own.
You can actually upload all of those photographs into your own Positive Prime sessions as a member. And yes, of course, you could watch it inside Positive Prime. And that is undoubtedly the best option for you. But you specifically asked, can I gift something to somebody else who's not a Positive Prime member? And the answer is absolutely yes. You can actually gift them a Positive Prime video, but a Positive Prime video is not the same thing scientifically as a Positive Prime session. A Positive Prime session is a therapeutic treatment in and of and by itself, but we can export it and create a Positive Prime video, and we can do so for you personally because you're a subscriber, and you can actually then have it available forever for the person who wants to view it. It's a completely different approach. It's an idea. Let me give you an example, right? So I'm just loading something here and I'll give you the link. And so at the moment, if I have this particular link, let me just mute the music. If I have this particular link, I can watch Jack Canfield's session. So I'm just going to share that with you and put it into the chat. And what this means is that I don't necessarily have to be a Positive Prime subscriber or a member even. I can physically watch this particular session as many times as I like on YouTube for free. Now, it's not a therapeutic treatment. It's not a Positive Prime session, but it is a Positive Prime video. And so it has the same impact in terms of the Duchenne smiles, interacting with your mirror neurons and changing your hormonal interactions. It's just not personalized. And so what we try to do at Positive Prime, I think with a whole heap of heart, is we try to create solutions for people wherever they're at. And there are so many people on the planet who really, really could use positive priming, but maybe they can't afford $19 a month. And even if they're sharing it with 5 people and they haven't actually figured out that that's only $4 per person per month, that's still excessive for some people in this day and age at this moment, particularly if they've lost their job because they, haven't been jabbed twice, or whatever the answers are. Do you know what I mean? So we're literally just creating ways for people to be able to be positively primed no matter what the actual reason is that they may or may not be able to be an ongoing subscriber. So the question then becomes, is this as powerful as a personalized Positive Prime session? Absolutely not. However, this is a standard Positive Prime video. I'm actually referring to a customized Positive Prime video, and we can create a customized Positive Prime video for you, for your clients, and indeed for your family members or your friends and so forth. It's up to you. If that actually is appealing to you, maybe you want to get in touch with us at support@positiveprime.com, and we will effectively create the solution with you. Does that make sense?
Yes, I thought more of a follow-up of photos, and as I understood, if I'm a member and I load up the photos, I can share with some of my family or my partner, so I can invite them, and so this way they can look at too. Is this right?
No, actually, it's a great question. So you can share your accounts with other people, but you can't actually share your personalized session, because everybody's gallery, everybody's collection of their personal photographs is entirely private and secure to them. And so could you imagine, Dorothy, if there are members who have photographs that they're embarrassed about? Like, I'll give you an example. I have a client who was embarrassed about wanting to buy a really fancy supercar, right? Because somebody else had actually told them that they were materialistic and that there was something bad or wrong about them because they were sucked in by consumerism just because they like luxury supercars, which, by the way, in and of itself is just, that's a terrible shame. Nobody has the right to judge anybody about whether what it is that they want is either right or wrong or good or bad. Everybody should be able to want whatever it is that they want, right? As lavish as it is, or as, you know, luxurious as it is, or the opposite. So anyway, this particular person didn't want anyone to know that they watched their Positive Prime session with lots of photographs of these supercars because they were worried about the judgment. And so as a consequence, our particular software makes sure that your personal photographs that are uploaded into your gallery and used in your sessions, nobody else knows about.
Officially, no, for sure. But if I put something together and I want to share it, I want to send it to someone, isn't it possible?
No, do you know, technically from a computer programming and software engineering point of view, that is actually an incredibly expensive piece of functionality that could be justified if we had hundreds of millions of dollars to play with, but we're not Facebook yet. So you've given me a great idea. I just don't know how to actually enable that. I don't know how to facilitate that from a software engineering point of view at this stage. That doesn't mean that we can't create it or that we won't create it in the future, but no. You would actually have to have your spouse view the sessions with you on your device. Now, to be honest with you, Dorothy, that's exactly what I do with Cameron. So I have a laptop that sits on my nightstand, and so it's on my bedside table. In the mornings, I pick it up, I open it up. I always have Positive Prime in a tab. I just refresh or reload the tab and I start playing the session. And I play a particular session first thing in the morning, which is a personal super mix. And in my settings area, it's interesting because I've uploaded photographs that say Kim and Cameron, and I've got lots of photographs of us as a couple from all sorts of different circumstances and situations. And I watched this particular Positive Prime session. And you know what the funny thing is? Cameron, even though he's my spouse, and you would think, oh, he'll watch his own Positive Prime sessions inside his own account. Yeah, well, that's actually not what he does. the naughty little thing. He just watches Positive Prime once a day with me, you know, when I've actually opened it up for him. And so, you know, I literally have to have the laptop on the bed, propped up on a pillow, and we both watch it for 3-5 minutes. I adhere to the practice a lot more differently than he does, but that's how I share it with him. I actually gifted my brother an account, so he was one of my invitees, and also my niece, my eldest niece. But at the same time, I think it's a process that I love others going through, where they define what it is that's important and significant and meaningful to them, and what it is that they are grateful for, and what it is that they aspire to achieve. And it's the process that they go through personalizing their own sessions that I think is part of the magic. It gets them to clarify, oh, what is it that I want? And in the process of doing that, they just start to think about, well, but why do I want that? And that actually sets in motion this incredible reaction in the quantum field, you know. So my best advice would be to encourage those people to have their own Positive Prime accounts and for them to go through the effort of personalizing, because they're then in the vibration of the gratitude. Do you know what I mean? They're actually deciding and sending out those messages. This is what's important to me, and this is what I appreciate, and this is what I want more of. It's the process that's part of the magic. I know, as a coach, you would agree. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell me, what are your favorite sessions? Yeah.
I'm not yet member, and I haven't yet watched. I'm more or less free member, because it was I'm not so long in NG, and there is still so much to find out, and I'm not the most technical person. So to deal with Positive Prime, actually, I feel it's a whole study on its own already. And I have also network beside NG, and I try to bring it in. So it's still a lot to do, and it's up to now, it was too much for me. And as a free member, I just I didn't find out really what to watch. So now I understood there is only one video for free members. So it was clear that I couldn't find more.
Yeah. Do you know what, Dorothy? I love your honesty, and this is what I would say to you. If everything is overwhelming, and if you're a subscriber, this is what you can do, which is actually what a lot of people do, right? So let's just start from the outside. All you do is log in, right? So I'll log back out. No, I didn't do log out. I did invites. No wonder. So we're logged out. So all you need to do is come to app.positiveprime.com and log in. Sometimes you might need to refresh or reload up here in your browser if you've already got your tab open and you've actually been, you've timed out for security reasons, so you might not actually be able to click anything. And so here's what I do. Every single week, we have different sessions that are featured. There's hundreds of sessions to choose from, but sometimes knowing which session to choose is really difficult. And so I would literally just click one of the sessions. This fantastic one is actually for people who are in networking and direct sales, right? This is a fantastic session. And this woman, Christine Tiley, oh, she's a beautiful human being. I'm going to show you a little bit more about being a subscriber. And so you don't necessarily need to personalize, but I am telling you, it makes it so much better. And all you do is literally click personalize, and then you click upload, and then you grab your own session. So I'm just going to go here to my own. You might not be able to see this. Tell me, can you actually see me choosing a photograph from my own file system? Or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay, all right. So maybe it's because it's hidden. I'm going to do an example here. I took some stunning photographs at my house the other day, and these stunning photographs of my house with a view, a big storm, a tropical storm had actually passed, and the world was glowing, and I was just like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And so, you know, there's a photograph that I'd really, you know, kind of love to be in there. So let me just, can you see this is now preparing one photograph? Can you see the pop-up on the screen? Okay, so this is the photograph. And so now I'm going to upload that photograph, and it's going to go into my gallery. And all I did was choose it from my file system, from my photographs on my computer. And I take lots of photographs with my iPhone all the time, and then I click my favorite ones. And so I'm constantly refreshing Positive Prime. And so right now, the interesting thing is that this particular session is about to show up in my collection of images. And I've got thousands of photographs. So see, they all just popped in. Well, see, this is the glow. I don't know if you can actually see this, but the sky was just a glow. And so I can select this particular image and only one image, or I can select all the images that are on this page. So I've uploaded all of these images. And so I'm going to select them all right now, and then I'm going to go and play this particular session. And what's happened is that the images that I've selected once are now saved into the actual session forever. I can actually delete them at a later stage, but anyway, so let's just say I'm feeling happy. This particular session by Christine Tiley is phenomenal. She's very, very, very successful in networking and direct sales. And she's a gorgeous human being. And so if I was you, I would do nothing more than watch this particular session, and you can speed it up or you can slow it down. Just do whatever feels really comfortable to you. The faster you go, the more you bypass your conscious critical judgment factors of your prefrontal cortex, and it starts to go into your other than consciousness. So from a subconscious point of view, this is actually really important. But the slower you go, the more you can savor the messages. And so you need to mix it up, a little bit of fast viewing, a little bit of slow viewing. But you know how I talked about Christine and I said there's something even more amazing. So there are hundreds of sessions. And if you want to watch something like this, you could go and choose another one of these down here. So you don't really need to know what you're watching. You're kind of guided anyway. You might then go, oh, wow, do you know what? I love Christine Tiley's session. You might make a note of that. Or guess what's even better? You might go over here and you might click the heart. And now this means this is one that you love. So I'm just going to pause this, okay? Let's go back to the dashboard, which means this is going to show up. Oh, of course, I feel better. So let's go over here to my sessions. And in my sessions, I find the ones that I've hearted, I've loved. And if I go down here, can you see that that direct sellers one from Christine Tiley is now in my sessions? It's in my hearts, right? Now, what I wanted to show you was something much more exciting. All right, so in Positive Prime in our community, excuse me, we have incredible Positive Prime leaders. We have an incredible range of Positive Prime leaders, and they are world-class, exceptional. They're at the top of their game. They're incredible psychologists and coaches and therapists, and they're just, oh, exquisite human beings. Bear with me for 1 second. Better? Little cup of tea, sip. So our coaches have all offered their very best nugget, their wisdom as a pearl, as an actual coaching session. And we at Positive Prime are helping to get the messages out of these particular great, we call them Positive Prime leaders, these coaches, these therapists, psychologists, and so forth. Anyway, so if you are a Positive Prime subscriber, I actually think that this is the best aspect of what it is that we offer. as a bonus. It's an accompaniment. We have 365 days of very short videos. Dr. Margaret Evanow is an incredible quantum psychologist. So this is day 96. I'm just going to click here for you. This particular video should inspire you. It should actually motivate you into some action. It should give you an aha. It should be incredible, right? And it's 5 minutes. And so I really want you to think about this. Let's just say the best professionals in the United States at the moment charge around about $400 an hour. Well, I was actually doing some figures just before. Let's just say 365 videos that are about 3 minutes means if I do 365, I've actually got my calculator in my hands, times 3 minutes, 365 times 3 minutes. There's just over 1,095 minutes of coaching. Great quality videos. Now, what's fascinating about this is if I divide 1,100 minutes by 60 minutes, that actually gives you just over 18.3 hours of content. 18 hours of content at $400 is $7,000 worth of exceptional, high quality, really laser focused coaching per annum. I think this is just extraordinary. And so what might happen here is that you might go and watch Dr. Margaret's video. I'll give you a little example of it. Let me just quickly share.
Good morning. I wanted to share with you a tidbit from a conversation that I had yesterday. In a group of women, we were talking about
You can hear it?
business, and we were talking about going to the next level. And one of my colleagues, a friend of mine, a wonderful lady, she actually shared, because we kind of know each other's life paths, that she's had multiple, because of a certain health condition, multiple experiences of near death or being revived from being clinically dead. And she said that what she would love to be able to do is to step out in front of a great big crowd of people that wanted to talk about what their dreams
Okay,
were.
so it gives you an idea. All of these are beautiful edited videos. Now, let's just say you end up really liking Margaret Evanow. You can go up here and you can actually look for Margaret Evanow. And what can you see here? She has a great session that's called Heal Thyself with Universal Pathways. And as a quantum physicist and a quantum psychologist, a qualified PhD quantum psychologist, I'll tell you, I love what Margaret shares. I absolutely love what Margaret shares. So you can learn a little bit more about her. And this is a positive prime session created by her. It has her energy, her messages, her voice. It has her intention inside it. And it's remarkable, absolutely remarkable. And so I can watch this particular session by Dr. Margaret and I can feel her here as if she's just sitting on my shoulders, gently guiding me, gently guiding me, gently guiding me. And I can just allow myself to just dive into this content and enjoy it and allow it to move me so that I can really create the breakthroughs in my life that I want. And I hope that that's what you want too. Positive Prime actually measures from the inside your internet speed and your connection from your device to your router and so forth. And so if you're playing something at maximum speed and your internet is not fast enough, and in particular, like with Zoom, we're actually screen sharing, and so it's very intensive for the amount of data that's actually being tried to transmit through the pipes at the moment. And so this Positive Prime session just will not play at this speed. And so this particular, like, you know, I'm loading image comes up, which is fine, right? So I can go back down to speed, let's just say 2, and press play, and I can see if it'll start playing again. Now, obviously, I'm on Zoom and I'm screen sharing. So if I stop screen sharing, it's literally going to give my computer and my internet connection half a chance to catch up. And so if you ever see this particular loading symbol, it's because your internet is too slow for your ability for your computer to download over 1,000 images and to cache them. And so it's very intense if you're watching a session at speed, at maximum speed. Every single experience that you have with Positive Prime is custom created. So each time you watch Positive Prime and it's reshuffled and each one of the flashcards is in a different order, it's actually custom creating the experience again for you in that particular moment. And so what I would argue for your sake is that you watch the same session a couple of times, allow it to cache into your browser, and then slowly but surely build it up in terms of the speed. So I'd watch it on slower speeds to begin with and allow yourself to really connect with the messages. I hope that helps. All righty. So does anybody have any other comments or questions before we take our leave at this time? James, has that been helpful for you? Have you learned anything else new or different?
There, I just figured out how to unmute myself there. Somewhat, some of it is like way more technical than I'm going to probably get into, like at least in there a little bit. I've done the fast, I've uploaded, I've personalized, I've gone the slow, I've probably seen a lot of sessions. I know I vary the amount of time, I guess, just by circumstances, but I mean, I try not to skip a day. I for sure try to start my day and end my day with Positive Prime. I'm a stubborn cuss, I'm pretty sure, because my brain is really well rooted in logic, and it hasn't, like, it has a benefit to a degree, a limited degree, but this, you know, allowing this intuition thing is a tough thing for me. And so I do have to go past the, what you say, the cerebral part to get it in. And yeah, whatever forces it through this big fat coconut, I'll take it, because I mean, it's tough. And I think I put something on one time on the website there that in spite of my expert, something to the effect of my expert defiance to not let it in, it's working its way in, because I go the high speed routes, just because that way you can't stop and think about it, you just have to let it go. And I have to be force fed this way. I mean, I don't mean to describe it poorly, I'm saying it because that's what needs to happen for me. I have to kind of force feed it in, and then you know, and you still have up days and less, like up days and down days, but you know, it's a wave, eh? And the waves, hopefully the waves go higher. But I mean, everything's a wave, right? Frequencies are waves. So why wouldn't your body and your mind be in waves? It can't always be at the top. It has to be in waves, right? So I try to go with the flow.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad that you do let it in. We as adults, we're pretty set in our ways. And that doesn't mean that Positive Prime won't help to completely restructure your automatic thoughts and the processes and the way that your mind and brain operates. It will over time. And so I applaud you for staying committed and keeping on, and thank you for personalizing. I can't wait until we touch base after 6 months of you viewing and just really see if we can observe the actual impacts that it's had for you personally, right? I think that when we, I'll tell you something very interesting. I've been watching a lot of Positive Prime sessions, and others were commenting to me that I seemed more peaceful, or that I seemed to not have angst in my vibrational, in my beingness. So they probably didn't use the word vibration, but it was funny how many people started to comment to me how they perceived that I had changed, and it was for the better, not for the worse. And so it was interesting because that was real feedback that I got from people who really know me, have known me all my life, and they just couldn't believe how different I was in a really pleasant way. So I know it definitely works. And I can say that about some of my clients. Some of my long-term clients who've been really committed to Positive Prime have had outstanding breakthroughs. Like one woman who's always wanted to make $1 million a year, and she's been pretty dedicated to finding a way and being committed to a way for at least 10 years that I've known her. Well, this year she's finally done it, but she's also watched a lot of Positive Prime over the last couple of years, right? And a lot of personalizing of those Positive Prime, you know, making $1 million a year is not everybody's want and need, you know, so I can tell you there are some people who've used it simply to repair their broken relationships with their spouses or with their children or with their siblings. I mean, there's all sorts of kinds of things that have happened over time. Valerie, is there anything that you wanted to add?
Just what I wrote in the chat there. I mean, if it wasn't noticed, because I was so excited about Positive Pearls, and I know it is an A, I missed it in there in spelling, but I like that 306 degrees of integrity and advanced views on forgiveness, really strong, and the happiness inventory. Those are just, they're my favorite 3 so far.
Wow, good on you. Do you know what that tells me? You're actually watching the pearls. And so high five to you. Give yourself a little bit of a hug.
I'm
right?
taking notes on them too. I have great notes on all of them. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm the one
Valerie.
who noticed that there was a mix up on one of them earlier and just wrote in, and you know, you have great staff. And of course they just took care of it right away because there was a duplicate on one and no one else had noticed it.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Valerie. I appreciate that. And so by the way, tens of thousands of other members would also appreciate that, because I think that when we have this contribution and this collaborative community, we can all create so much more. And so your feedback is super important, and it does allow us to improve, you know, so thank you. All righty. So as you may or may not know, I do these on a regular basis. It's either me and or a Positive Prime leader who leads this, you know, beautiful opportunity once a week to ask some questions or have something addressed, suggestions, receiving some feedback, getting some advice. And so I'm happy to be here on service. I love this opportunity, and I hope that you do too. And I will look forward to seeing you at the next one, and maybe on Positive Prime's Facebook page. Go and have a little a little comment about, I don't know, what are some of the things that you love about Positive Prime? What are some of the changes, little shifts that you've noticed in yourself? Every single time you comment, the interesting thing is that you encourage everybody else who sees that in their feed, and maybe that's the little spark that they needed today for them to go and take action. Maybe that was the little reminder for them to go and watch their Positive Prime session in case life has been so overwhelming they've forgotten. Okay, so the holiday program is close to coming out. I will confirm with Mayumi. I think that we are launching that this week, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. All righty. Thank you. Love you all.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Thanks. Ciao.